3, 2, 1, go.
All right, and we're off. Now, once again, we are using the in-game timings of everything, so this is not being calculated in a real-time way. So yeah, loads not being taken into account, and whatever the timer is on the screen, that's the time we're going with to decide the winners of this match. Both getting into Creeper Woods pretty quickly, Panda being ever so slightly slower, but it looks like they're both off to a good start. And I think here is where you're seeing a little bit of a hardware difference in the loading times, and this kind of explains why these runs are calculated loadless, because, people running on some older hardware, let's say, can potentially see a little bit of a slow load into that, and that just wouldn't be, all things considered, particularly fair.
You'll see that definitely on my match tomorrow. I'm notorious for having the slowest load times.
I felt really bad for you during the GDQ run where your commentators were throwing you under the bus, saying Mifa doesn't have the best PC. So, but for folks who are interested, Mifa is the runner who was featured at this year's AGDQ. Which was another online event, another speedrun marathon event where a bunch of different games get run every year. If you're new to speedrunning as a hobby in general, maybe you've just checked out a couple of Minecraft Java speedruns and you're interested in learning a little bit more, the speedrunning community is massive, and they have events every summer and winter benefiting charity. They raise millions of dollars in favor of different causes, and this was the first time Minecraft Dungeons has ever run at GDQ. So while we're seeing a little bit of the early Creeper Woods action, both players going for vendor strats here, of course. Mifa, do you want to run down what the experience was like of contributing to GDQ this year?
I think other than school exams in my life, it was the most nervous I've ever been.
Right? I feel like this... I hope this tournament isn't going to be as nerve-wracking as it seems to be for some people, but... It's a comfortable environment. You're among friends, I think, here.
Yeah, it's a lot more relaxed here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the run went very well, though. I'm very happy about it.
Yeah. I think your final time was somewhere in like the 40-minute range, but for a marathon is still pretty lucky, considering that you can't like reset. Like a lot of the time when you see speed runs done, people will reset if they don't get favorable gear, because your time is just not going to be anywhere near good enough to challenge some of the records. But at a marathon event like GDQ, you've basically got to run with what you have.
Yeah, I put a lot of practice into running with the worst possible things.
I think that's got to be a different strategy as well, because you're so used to running for the best stuff, and then when you've got to retrain yourself almost to run with like the worst possible equipment and still finish out, that's got to be a little bit tough. But there's some clutch moments. I remember you got a pretty good set of armor here and there. You didn't manage to get the torment quiver, but you got a couple of other useful things.
Yeah, not only that, but the Desert Temple boss didn't spawn in.
Yes. Oh, that was the biggest thing. Yeah, and we probably won't see that, because once again, that is one of those things that's like a 1 in 30,000 chance that it happens or something, right? Oh. I remember them saying something was a little bit close to the mark there.
Yeah, so we just missed. Imek got a death cap mushroom from the
and top. It looks like Panda may have crashed as well.
Oh no!
So that's going to be a little bit rough. I don't know what we want to do about that if we're ruling in favor of crashes happening, but I presume we're just going to play this match out now, right?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. I mean, we can see Panda is reloading, so with every intent of getting back into the game, but I don't know. I haven't seen any messages pop up on Discord, so maybe Panda is committed to just starting over.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, that's rough. That's really unfortunate. And once again, starting with the same character but having not completed a level, looks like he's going straight back to the tutorial level and restarting the run from scratch.
Yeah, until you actually complete Creeper Woods, you'll always get thrown back to Squid Coast at the very start.
And those have got to be difficult conditions to deal with. We're having a little bit of a back channel chat in the Discord here about whether or not this is going to be a reset. So bear with us, folks. We might be seeing this first match get a bit of a mulligan in a second. Okay, Panda is saying that his game would probably crash again, so if he can't get through the run, Imek is probably just going to get a bye, but we'll see. We'll see how things go, because as we've seen, some of the crazier time saves in this can actually net you a pretty decent run, even if you're behind at the beginning, so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, anything can end up happening. So
yeah, and Panda, I think, is saying that the injector, which I presume is what you use to basically determine what level seed you're running with, there may be some extra stuff running in the background that is potentially preventing some. I think I can't tell. I presume, like, when you're looking at the seed number in the top left there, that I can just about see on Panda's screen, that is the seed for the individual level, not the seed for the entire run, right?
Yeah, that's
so
the
he is
seed.
still running the same Creeper Woods that they did a minute ago. It's just yeah, it's a little bit confusing to me, because obviously that seed stuff is not like a player-facing aspect of the game at all when you're just playing Minecraft Dungeons casually. That's something that's had to be created specifically for runners to do set seed runs of this game.
Yeah, it's custom tool for us. Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about the different categories at this point, because you're not only a single player runner, but you've also been running a lot of co-op recently.
Yeah, I tend to be the like the guy who likes co-op, essentially.
Yeah,
which is really fun.
It's fun because this feels to me like it deserves to be a co-op game. Like, having played it casually, I had a great time with the single player campaign, but it's one of those things that if you've got friends with you and you feel like just throwing down a 4-player game of this, it's local co-op and online, so you can do a lot with it. But in the case of the speedrun, it actually opens up some really interesting strategies.
Yeah, so currently the fastest time to beat the games, both level skip and no level skip, both records are currently held in 2-player co-op.
There you go.
For the first time ever.
Yes, yeah, and that's kind of wild. And the level skip category distinction is relatively new. Panda, who is one of the runners we're seeing right now, actually discovered this a few days ago, and it has kind of completely changed the way the categories are laid out now. But yeah, what you're looking at is the no level skip version. So as we explained with Yom earlier, players are running through the minimum amount of levels required to complete the game without skipping levels using this new glitch. But then now you have a level skip and a no level skip category for both single player and co-op. There's a lot more just sort of legit categories, things that aren't just meme runs to go by.
Yeah. So we saw Panda also get an artifact from the pig, but it's the worst one.
Yes, he got a tasty bone, so that's really unfortunate. That pig can give you armor or an artifact, right? I don't think it can give you both at this stage. Whereas
no, it can give you both.
Oh, it can give you both. So you could end up, in theory, with a boot of swiftness and a swift foot armor. Yeah. But instead it gives you a tasty bone, and then you feel sad.
So it will always give you either a sword, a bow, or an armor, but it also has a chance to also give you an artifact.
So you're you live or die by that pig, I think, in some of the later runs. Well, obviously Panda just about making it out of Creeper Woods, and hopefully we don't see any more crashes so that he can continue his run unimpeded by technology. Imek making his way through Cacti Canyon here, getting to the area where you have to get a key to get a key, and then make your way to that final ambush at the end. So a pretty solid run from Imek so far.
Using a particular strat in co-op, it's possible to get to the gold key early, but you can't use it on the door because of the objectives.
The strat that I find most interesting in the co-op run is right at the very end, where one of you can get to the Arch-Illager cutscene before the Arch-Illager boss is defeated, but you can't trigger it until the boss goes down. So one player goes ahead and basically gets up to the cutscene trigger, and the other player stays behind and deals with the boss. I find that really fascinating.
Yeah, that's only a thing we've actually started doing recently, because having the Torment Quiver glitch, allowing us to one hit the boss, both players don't actually have to be there anymore to fight
Yes.
it.
And that's
So
and that's wild. That's the cool thing about having a co-op category in this game is it makes the game feel significantly different because you maybe have one player running for objectives while the other player gathers XP because both of you get XP at the same time, so you can potentially level up somebody's gear to make it even faster for the person who's going ahead, and that's pretty wild.
So we see Panda here who's got 2 dogs, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, after a run crash, having 2 tasty bones is just adding insult to injury at this point. But still summoning them when he can just to hopefully get some of these Vindicators off his tail. And he's having a bit of a rough time heading through Cacti Canyon here.
Yeah, and Imek's just about to be finishing up here. I'm not sure what wave he's on, but their strength bar is huge here.
Yes, yeah, taking down those enemies very, very quickly thanks to some strength potion. That looks like it. That's the last wave. So Imek is heading out to Desert Temple with Panda, sort of cruising through Cacti Canyon at this point.
Okay, Imek does not go for the end of level tech skip.
Nope. He looks like he's going through the usual way.
It only saves like a couple of seconds on Cacti, just because of how short the outro is.
He gets a Windhorn artifact and replacing a Windhorn artifact and getting rid of that tasty bone finally. I think at this point it is probably about the balance of power as well, of having... there's a heavy crossbow with accelerate there, considering that for a second, but looks like the... Nope, it looks like he is buying it, okay. So heavy crossbow is an interesting choice because a lot of the different bows have different ammo ratings, power ratings, and speed ratings. And the heavy crossbow is one that doesn't give you much speed or ammo, but gives you a fair amount of power. So enchantments like Accelerate aren't going to matter all that much if you only have a very limited amount of arrows. You start the level with much fewer arrows than you would if you had, say, a short bow, which is going to favor ammo over having relatively low power. So Imek's clearly got a strategy in mind here for just taking out key enemies with that, and is potentially going to enchant it a little bit later if he has the chance. But if you get Torment Quiver, then 1 arrow is kind of all you need.
Well, it depends if it's got Dynamo or not.
Oh, this is true, yeah. I was forgetting about the Dynamo problem.
Oh, Panda just got a similarly leveled heavy crossbow for free.
There you go. Didn't need to buy it from the vendor or anything. I didn't get a chance to see if Panda went for the vendor in Creeper Woods, but presumably he did.
He did.
Yeah, even though it's a small amount of extra time, it is just going to be vital for getting some better gear later.
Okay, this is looking like a really nice key here. Not very many mobs around.
Yeah, compare this to the Necromancer spawning in that top corner and everything going wrong for our runners on the last run. That was, a little bit of a horrifying desert temple, I think, for Cream of Immortals. But yeah, this one seems a little bit kinder.
In the Discord server, we have a list of all the worst possible seeds for each level. And I think you can imagine what the key's like in that seed.
Yes, yeah, I can only imagine. It's the kind of thing that you probably wouldn't notice. Is this the obsidian chest room? I think it is, right?
Yes, this is the obsidian chest layout. It has specifically rotated this way around. There's a hidden room here.
This is really interesting, and that's a purple storm. We saw that in, I think, Foot Cream's first run, so we're potentially seeing a little bit of useful strat from that as well. I didn't get to see what enchantments it had on it, but a Swiftfoot Grim armor.
Wow, okay.
And
Imek's really pulling ahead here.
And despite getting stuck on the level a little bit there, yes, it looks like he definitely has the edge on Panda here. What we're what we're looking at is Panda like a little bit behind, but still making his way through Cacti Canyon at this point. And once again, we can cross our fingers that the hardware is going to hold up.
Imek picking up a soul knife, which is the best possible weapon. Well, it's our most favorite weapon in the game.
Yes, yeah, and once again, as Jon was saying earlier, the soul knife has a much more powerful attack than it did in the early versions of this game. So running on a patch, I presume these guys are both running on 1.4.
There's a chance one of them's running on 1.5.
Right, yeah, but then
fine.
Yeah, the soul knife is going to be a little bit better. Are there any other changes in either recent or older versions that make them unfavorable to run? Why did the community settle on 1.4 and 1.5?
Well, the reason we run on 1.4 and 1.5 is because of Dynamo existing. if Dynamo didn't exist, we would run on 1.3, I think, because
Uh-huh.
the vendor, even though it's worse, you don't have to unlock. It's just there.
Yes. Of course, that was a change that I feel like a lot of people would take for granted now, but it's the kind of thing that if you were playing the early version of the game, you got the merchants in the camp. Actually, there were only two of them. There was a blacksmith who I think at the time traded you gear instead of upgrading it, and
Yeah,
there was
any random thing that wasn't an artifact.
yeah, and then the wandering trader was there to give you artifacts, and since then that's been broken out into a vendor who will trade you all kinds of stuff, and then there's a luxury trader and a mystery trader. The blacksmith now upgrades gear, which obviously you're not going to see in the speedrun at all, and you have to unlock them from different levels instead of them appearing just after you've completed specific levels. So I guess that that does change things up a little bit in terms of the speed of everything, not having to take that detour in Creeper Woods.
Yeah, and of course, we're both picking up the vendor here just for backup. And if you're going for a PB time, you wouldn't go for the vendor.
Yeah, yeah.
The 40-second deficit, in some cases, isn't worth it.
And if it's if it's not in a tournament setting, you can just reset at the end of Creeper Woods, as you'll find a lot of people doing.
Imek is coming up to the boss here. He's got a death cap and a soul knife, so he should make very quick work of it.
Using that air horn to push back and slow down the rest of the enemies in this area. Getting a little bit cornered by some of these necromancers, and it looks like that's that's a good run for Imek now.
Man,
yep,
it's going to be hard for Panda to come back on this one now.
And he does have a bow with Dynamo, having saved that from earlier. So even though he's got a more powerful bow in the form of the purple bow, I forget what it's called now. It escapes my memory. Yes, there you go, the Purple Storm. This one is going to be a little bit of a faster fight. There it is. That's the insta-kill, more or less, that we see with Dynamo and Torment Quiver. That's
got a mechanical shortbow and a boot of swiftness drop.
All right, well,
that is insane. Look.
Yeah, that looks like Imek's run all the way at this point, even with Panda's technical difficulties. Panda now moving into Desert Temple, though, so at least occupying the same level, making up a little bit of ground.
Yeah, this has been very hard for Panda now.
Imek can't quite believe his luck at this point. Yeah, but Birdie is in the chat calling for a mercy kill. At this point, it might seem cruel, but yeah, good to at least get this first run underway and see how well Imek does, because as we've seen, things can go pretty bad for you depending on the seed. He's got an Evo robe there, but he's gonna skip over that, having Swiftfoot now, and move on to Redstone Mines.
Oh, there was a higher level bow with Dynamo there, but until the very end of the game, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, if you're strong enough to one-shot a couple of things, then you're not going to worry too much about it, I guess.
The only place it might matter is possibly the final boss, where it takes maybe a couple of extra rolls and maybe 1 or 2 shots to kill him.
But it seems like, from what I understand of the glitch, the Torment Quiver Dynamo combo, you really don't need to roll all that much. Dynamo is an ability that lets you roll as much as you want to build up a stack of the effect, and then when you unleash it, it deals extra damage, but you see people rolling very few times before they can unleash that Torment Arrow and deal a lot of damage, so it really doesn't take all that much. Whatever maths is going on behind the scenes there must be exceptionally broken.
Yeah, I think somebody theorized what's happening there, but I don't remember. I think it's something like it adds together the Torment and the Dynamo damage, and then times it by the Torment again.
Right, okay, so there's an extra multiplication symbol has been added somewhere.
Yeah, there's an extra additional multiplication in there somewhere. That just should not happen.
And that is once again the reason why the category is run on 1.4, is because Dynamo was introduced in that patch. It's quite fun that they keep supporting the game by introducing new stuff, though, because I think the Howling Peaks DLC even added some stuff that's in part of the... Wow, there's that Dynamo effect going off. There's some stuff that's in the base game, so potentially runners are going to be on the lookout for stuff about the base game changing in more current patches, but as it stands, I think some of the stuff in... is it 1.7 it's on now? I forget,
yeah,
but it's... some of that stuff just makes it kind of rubbish to speedrun.
Yeah, but specifically though, the Vindicators are like far too strong for us to even run away from.
Yeah.
Just
And there we go.
happen.
And that's another Torment Quiver Dynamo kill. Very, very clean redstone mine. And yeah, everything looking very strong for Imek right now. Yep, he's like, I cannot believe this luck.
Yeah, his luck has been insane so far.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see, even though this is obviously like a run-to-run tournament. It's sort of a best-of-3 format, so even if the finals comes down to two of the unluckiest runs ever, whoever wins that is going to take it home. And so I wonder, over the entire event, what the best time is going to be. So
We've held one tournament before, and the finals were so cursed.
I expect so, yeah. And having a list of the meme seeds in the background. I remember when this tournament thing was being proposed, and when we were sort of setting things up, it was you or somebody else suggested like one of the runs should just be on one of the worst possible seeds, just for fun. Should just like inject an extra. Yeah. Well, you always have a couple of sadists in the community, right? So it's always going to work out that way. All right, Imek moving on to Fiery Forge here, taking down that redstone monstrosity at the end, and Panda looks like just coming up to Nameless One, not having great luck with drops so far. Let's see what the pig gives him. It's a short bow. That is not the best, but it might have maybe some useful enchants if he doesn't have anything good at this point. Yeah, he's at least got a soul knife, so...
The best he can look for from that is Accelerate or Fuse Shot.
He's also working with some really low power gear. It looks like there's nothing really there above like a 4 or 5, except the artifacts, and they don't really count for much.
He does have a Swift for armor now, though, so at least he can keep some speed.
Speaking of keeping some speed, Imek keeping very nice pace here through Fiery Forge. Once again, the layout of this level is going to be kind of crucial to how fast the run ends up being, position of the cores, and some of these larger groups of enemies becoming all very, very difficult to squeeze through there, but very well-timed health potion, and maybe the Geomancers help out. Maybe they... Oh, nope, looks like he's getting stuck on some of the geometry of the level, and one of those explosive pillars manages to dodge that, though. Very good. Yeah, the Geomancers can just be the make-or-break area in some of these. They are a little bit of a pain to deal with a lot of the time.
Yeah, the Geomancers are some of the worst enemies to run with. Coming up to the core here for Imek, they look okay. There's one kind of off to the top corner, is a bit out the way, fortunately.
Yeah, and once again, this is an aspect of the level you really have to route on the fly, being some of those cores being so far away, you have to work out where the exit is as you're doing this.
Wow, that top corner core is really far.
Yep, and it looks like he's going for the exit, and he hasn't realized he's got one more core left to do.
I'm not surprised it's so out the way.
Yeah, and when you're playing Minecraft Dungeons, even casually, you can use the objective marker to direct you to where you're supposed to go next. This kind of gold hexagon appears that kind of guides you through the level, but you'll see players using the overlay map, the kind of Diablo-style look at the map where you can at least see a little bit of the layout ahead of time, so you don't need to worry too much about locating stuff. A lot of the objectives, like the cores, will show up as markers on the map. So if you get a good look at that overlay whilst you're dealing with everything else that's happening on the screen, you can often figure out where stuff is and figure out the best route ahead of time.
Panda's finally finished with Desert Temple. And there's a boot and 2 soul knives in the store.
Yeah, looks like he's salvaging everything he can in order to get those boots. That's going to be crucial to the next area. Yep, heading out to redstone mines, but basically being a level and a half behind at this stage, with Imek looking to, once again, Dynamo torment that redstone monstrosity. It's absurdly powerful. Remember, Yon was saying in the previous run that the redstone monstrosity has the highest HP of any boss in the game, and he just made it look like it was one shot, one kill. It's pretty easy.
Well, other than I think the secret Moo boss might have more HP.
Yeah, but at least of the run of the
base game.
Yeah, the base game. And there is even an all missions category that deals with the secret level as well, right?
Yes. So that has a very interesting kind of new development in that category. Is on version 1.2 of the game, there's a way you can skip into the church early from the camp, which allows you to pick up the runes. And
But then you still have to play in 1.2.
yeah, but recently we've been allowed it, so you can start in 1.2, do the skip, and then use the same character in 1.5.
Right, okay, so you're loading it up in a newer version, and it's really interesting that because having played through it casually, I sort of thought, well, you don't get to even unlock any of the runes that unlock the secret level until you get to the next difficulty once you've beaten the game once, because that's the only way that unlocks the route to the church. But it turns out all you need to do is go into the church, press a button, and you're good. So if you can get there ahead of time, it is still possible to get all the runes on default difficulty, which is kind of an impressive find to me. I'm just kind of blown away by that.
Yeah, the skip's been known for like since very early times, which is very thankful for that one because it saves like at least 10 minutes on its own.
Imek making his way through an interesting looking high block seed. It's funny to see once again the level geometry being turned around at an angle that I don't normally see it, but I expect, having run the game several times, you sort of get a feel for the way some of these tiles can be arranged. He's kind of throwing back his head in frustration at how difficult movement is through this area, but looks like he's managed to bait all of the enemies into a line and coming up on that first ambush.
Yeah, same ambush as the last from Mortal's Foot Cream. He doesn't have a feather, so he can't skip it. But he should do just fine fighting it, especially with that Torment Quiver.
Panda taking a death to the Redstone Golem, but it looks like that fight went pretty cleanly. Obviously not quite as clean as the Torment, but you do what you can. And we'll be headed off to Fiery Forge next, while Imek takes the hammer to all of these guys.
Panda's going to need miracles to come back here.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, after a crash, we didn't expect a whole lot. And yeah, in terms of time, I feel like Fiery Forge can go pretty quickly, but it can also just be a bit of a pain getting through those waves of enemies.
Yeah, especially not having a Torment Quiver is going to make the boss really slow for Panda.
Yeah. And once again, some of these weapons and artifacts can only be picked up on certain levels. So at a certain point, you have to be banking on getting gear from specific locations. If you don't have a Torment Quiver from Desert Temple, is it possible to get another one?
Yeah, you can buy one from the store.
I guess, yeah, the vendor is pretty much your only shot at that point.
Yeah, but it's very unlikely to appear.
Looks like Imek has one more wave of this ambush to go, and it's the toughest one with all of the Royal Guards.
Yeah, but he can just torment them down.
There it is. There it is. Straight through. Gets the level up. Clears the ambush. And now it's all about speed again.
Panda's starting up FF here. I'm not sure if there's anything he can pick up here to really help him. Maybe something like reinforced mail. Better armor, because he's almost already dead and he's only through the first section.
Yeah, once again, with that low-level gear, it's not being kind to him at this stage. I think that's one of the reasons why the level skip glitch is also really significant, is because you can do levels like Obsidian Pinnacle on difficulty level 1, which is kind of wild to me, because it's one of the things I learned playing through this game was that the game locks the difficulty level as you get further through the game. So in theory, when you go to Obsidian Pinnacle, you can't play it below difficulty level 5 if you're playing casually. The game just doesn't let you, even though it has a scalable difficulty that you can set for most of the levels before that, usually between 1 and, I think, 8 now. It used to be 7 originally.
I think. I'm not sure. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, on some of the more recent patches, because they've changed it so that there are additional difficulty levels beyond Apocalypse, there's a lot of shifting around in difficulty, and they seem to add them with DLCs and further updates. And it looks like Imek has had, I was going to say a pretty clean run of high block halls, but then takes a death to the enemies in that corridor. So still with effectively 2 respawns left. He's looking pretty solid as he approaches the throne room.
Yeah, this front row should not be like any difficulty for him with that torment quiver. He'll be able to just mow everything down.
as you can see from this corridor. Going for the obsidian chest, gets a power bow out of it.
Yeah.
Yes, not going to be super useful compared to the gear he's got, and he has basically everything he needs, I think, at this point. Panda still working on the cores, having hit that top corner and headed for the last one, so he'll be looking for the exit right about now and heading towards the boss. But once again, it does look like this run might be in the bag for Imek. Throne room can change a lot, but there's not really anything that Torment Quiver can't handle at this stage.
No, it's yeah. Unless he like massively fails Obsidian Pinnacle, it's pretty much done now.
We've got folks in the chat saying you can speedrun Minecraft dungeons. Absolutely, you can. you are watching it right now. And to be fair, I think there's very few games that you can't speedrun. I feel like anything that's got a lot of like scrolling stuff, like auto scrollers as they're called, is probably the only thing that times wouldn't significantly differ. But then there's usually some elements of a game that can be completed in a fast enough fashion that you consider them speedrunnable.
Yeah, like I personally speedrun Hearthstone, the card game. So anything is runnable.
It's pretty awesome, and I find it really interesting the games that speedrunners choose to take on. And being part of the Minecraft community, obviously a lot of focus is on just playing, Java Minecraft typically. But there are so many, interesting spin-offs and games, and just watching an event like GDQ, which has such a variety, you find people running stuff like horror games, because some of the exploits in horror games are just so fascinating and game-breaking enough for me that it sort of reframed horror games for me, and I don't typically find them that scary if I know some of the mechanics behind it. Stuff like Minecraft Dungeons, which is all action, it's all about kind of, knowledge of the game and of the certain techniques and skips and weapon and armor combos that are just completely broken. You have games like Celeste, which are almost exclusively skill-based. It's just down to movement and executing that perfectly. And then you have just the sheer jank of like some of the games that were just produced years and years ago for the Sega Saturn, and like some of the most entertaining stuff out of GDQ for me always comes out of the awful block or the silly block, which is just a bunch of people playing old like CDI games and stuff like that.
The awful block is a personal favorite.
It's so good. It's always really, really fun watching this stuff. And as somebody who's relatively new to the speedrunning scene, everyone just has such an appreciation for it. That's just, it's kind of heartwarming in itself, and the commentary is always so hilarious.
So Panda, sorry, not Panda, Imek is down to his last life now. Oh, but
yep,
he's finished.
But he's finished. He's all the way through. So heading to Obsidian Pinnacle as Panda starts High Block Hall. So Panda, to his credit, is doing reasonably well at this stage. Has a boot of swiftness, has a swift foot armor, I believe. It was there we go, rolling to get past those vindicators and making his way into High Block Halls. We'll see how this goes for Panda, but it looks like unless Imek has an absolutely terrible Obsidian Pinnacle, which seems unlikely at this stage, he'll be taking it to the finish line.
Yeah, definitely. I doubt there's much that can really go wrong here, but Obsidian Pinnacle has been known to like cause like unnecessary time loss in the past.
Yes.
Like you feel so confident about it and something just bad happens. And Imek chugging his classic monster. I've never seen a day without him drinking one.
There you go. He's angling for a sponsorship after this, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
If anybody from Monster is watching, get in touch. Do !runners in the chat to see everyone's Twitch, and maybe drop the man a DM. Slide into his DMs with a can of Monster in hand.
And it's like, coming into Obsidian Pinnacle here. There's Obsidian Pinnacle is like the one level with lots of little like skips and jumps and everything.
Yeah, this is the stuff that was blowing my mind watching it at GDQ, because I wanted to do all of this stuff when I was playing the level, but could never quite work it out, and I'd always just roll off. So I ended up, abandoning that as a strategy of my own. But looks like it's going to pay off a little bit for Imek here.
So here we have the ambush you're able to skip it. I'm not sure if we've seen it in the past 2 matches.
No, I think people didn't have a feather going into this level, and the feather is kind of the key to it.
Yeah, no, you can do it without a feather. You can just do it with rolls.
Ah, there you go. But choosing to use a feather here maybe for activating that swift-footed as well.
Yeah, but also a feather is just another roll, so it like negates the fact you have a roll cooldown.
Right, I get you. I get you.
So, yeah,
It's funny, all the little optimizations like that, all of the little stuff that people have thought about because they've been doing this for a long time, just kind of fascinates me.
it's Imek to be very smart here. Whilst there's not that many strong enemies, taking the time to kill enemies and get his souls up, ready for the torment quiver to be used later.
And we're getting raided by Andy as Yoda. Welcome on in, folks. Welcome to the Minecraft Dungeons Speedrun Invitational, as I've somewhat pretentiously called it. This is a really awesome 8-person speedrun tournament that is happening over this weekend and potentially a weekend in February where we're going to have the semi-finals and the finals. Right now you're seeing Imek and exoticpanda speedrunning side by side. We've had kind of a difficult run for Panda, having an early crash, but he's back in the game going through high block halls, the second to last level, and you see Imek on the left there attempting to do corridor skip over here at the almost the climax of Obsidian Pinnacle.
Imek is notorious for failing this.
But he's made it, I think, on the 4th attempt. We saw Yom absolutely ace that first try, both runs. Not Yom, sorry, Foot Cream. But yeah, we have...
Foot Cream has a very nice setup for it.
Yeah, It's always cool to see the variety in runners' abilities and the stuff they specialize in. That was really cool talking to Yom earlier about how the hardcore runner deals with things slightly differently than the more technical. And Imek looks like he's going in for some bread and some more arrows there. Probably just the bread. I think the arrows were mostly fine with Torment Quiver, but
yeah, just taking the safety heal.
Yeah, because there's a lot of enemies in this level going up to what is going to be the stairs in a few tiles' time. Panda making his way through the buffet level and still has a life on deck, so is potentially going to be hitting the throne room fairly soon as long as nothing goes too badly wrong.
Yeah, he should be fine. He should be able to make it through. Should.
And another interesting thing about leveling up in this game, as in some other games, I suppose, it completely refills your health. So if you can, occasionally, I have seen a couple of people time level ups so that they manage to get that last hit of XP right as they need to refill their life, and they can avoid using a potion, which is such a small thing. But again, one of those things that can potentially save you resources when you're trying to be a bit more economical about these runs.
Yeah, that strategy is a lot in co-op, where the second player can get the last kill for the person who's running ahead.
All right, Imek has the Torment Quiver on deck. That is one roll, and is going to beat the Arch-Illager. Rolls a little bit more to get Dynamo, and that is the Heart of Ender as well. Very, very clean boss fight from Imek, and we are through to the final cutscene. That is time, 34:49, and he is very, very happy about that.
It's very respectable time. Very respectable.
Yes, respectable. And as we see Panda approaching the Arch-Illager's throne room, bringing a couple of Vindicators through with him before the waves even spawn. But I don't know if you want to call it or if you want to let Panda finish out this level. Up to you.
Yeah, we can call it.
All right.
I'll deafen them.
All right, folks, that is it. Imek, congratulations on that run.
Oh yeah, it was incredible. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even need to describe the feelings of people that've been watching this, that they know the game. Like, this desert temple was insane.
Yeah, Mifa has been losing it slightly from Desert Temple onwards. I think that was pretty wild.
Before the boss, I just decided, wow, maybe I'll kill this pig, and there's like a torment.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. Sorry again, Panda, for that bit of a rough start you had with the crash. That was really unfortunate, but looks like you made up pretty good time. Imek just had the ideal setup, really, going from Desert Temple onwards.
Yeah, Panda, you brought that back real hard.
Huh? I did?
No, I was choking, to be honest. Like, this time was pretty bad.
Dude, I don't know how I brought that back. I don't know what you were talking about. I mean, I might have made it through the ambush, but that's about it.
Yeah, no,
just as Imek finished, you got to the end of HH. So, and like the gap earlier was much larger.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a lot to see you coming back from a crash and still wanting to continue the run. So all credit to you, fair play.
Yeah, I was thinking I was gonna just crash again. And I was like, if I crash again, I don't really know what I can do about that. But I just went with it. I thought I was gonna crash in HH. I probably would have, but I don't know. I restarted the stream and I lowered the bitrate even more. So if you wanna refresh that.